My name is Diane Mikhael. I'm Canadian Lebanese in origin. I teach graphic design at OCAD University as an associate professor, tenured. But I've been teaching graphic design for 25 years outside Canada and the Middle East, mainly in American institutions. So the work I'm exhibiting is related to language and script, because I'm talking about the Syriac script that has been muted for a long time. And my contribution in the exhibition is a kind of an activism just to awaken that script that has been muted for a long time and contribute to the movement that's happening nowadays and just, bring it back and bring it alive. So I created a typeface design, a typeface, Syriac typeface. It's a Western Syriac typeface to celebrate that script. I teach typeface design and I teach typography and I teach multilingual typography. Like I teach Latin type design and Arabic and Latin. And also now I'm into this adventure of, working with the Syriac script or writing system. Because of the nature of my identity, that we speak originally 3 languages, Arabic, English, and French. But we've been also colonized by so many cultures over the years. So for us, it's always like there's this question of like, what is our identity? And being in Lebanon, that region has been really a hub of so many, I would say, mix of different cultures, because we've been colonized by so many Ottomans and Byzantine and Roman and across the years, right? So definitely this influenced the writing system. And then and when we're talking about Syriac, it is more specific to the Maronite community who were like followers of Saint Maroon, who was an hermit in the Catholic Church back in Lebanon. So they've been practicing as the main script, and the main language is the Syriac, the Western Syriac. The reason why I decided to dig into that project, because in our practice, our religious practice, there is always nowadays a version of the Syriac, in all the religious books, but also the Arabic. And I've never had the chance to question why there is always this Syriac. I know Maronites have been, influenced, by that. Their main language and main script. However, I never questioned whether this is my origin, script or not, because we've learned Arabic and French and English, and nobody touched base on that script before. So when I start questioning, when the Syriac script, was really practiced in our community back, in the 5th century, I start to be curious, more when I came to Canada, and teaching at OCAD and talking about decolonizing design. I wanted to go back to my roots, like really to my roots, and I started from me being Maronite and living in the Middle East, and so we learn Arabic, but I know that for this community, the Syriac was the original language and script. So I wanted to revive that and contribute to the to that movement, that we want this language back and the writing system back. So I hope that this project become the seeds of future project that I'm digging into, and this project will become part of my research interest for over maybe 5 years. So the work is titled Certo, to point, unmute, imprint, and impress. So certo is translation means line, right? And the title of this work is just express, as I said, an activist kind of expression, because I want to unmute that typeface, that script or writing system, and I want people to explore with the letters and shapes. So the installation has two parts. It has a canvas where I used just a print, so you print on that. I printed on that canvas the letters of the typeface that I have created, and the typeface is, the name of it is called Certo. And I used the Western Syriac because there is Eastern Syriac. So I used the Western Syriac because it has been mainly the practice of the Maronite, community at that time. So I want to modernize it, and also in the composition of that canvas, the letters, they were just it's like performing on that canvas in a way to show their formal quality, the shapes, the forms as individual letters, but also when they get together, the energy of these letters, bring some excitement of patterns and a visual system that is really expressive. So the work is more expressive, and at the bottom of the canvas, there is the 22 letters of the Syriac alphabet. And the Syriac is an abjad writing system. That means it's a Semitic, coming from the Semitic language or script, and it reads from right to left. Yeah, and there are there are 22 consonants and 5 vowels, like in a form of diacritics. So that was the canvas as a side, as a piece. And then we have, and the second components of the installation are the engraved stamps of the 22 letters and the vowels, where so I engraved each letter on one piece of linoleum, stamp, in a way that when you turn and look at the stamp, you look at the right direction of the letter, but when you take the ink pen, and fill the letters shapes, with ink, to press it on a canvas or on the wall, you got a reflection of the letter, not the right direction. And there's a metaphoric aspect of this kind of experience, because I want people first to draw and learn the shapes of the letters, so they will have some time to fill the letter shapes, feel it, right? And then when you press it on the wall, it's mirrored. It's not the right direction. I want them. It's a kind of a metaphorical, as I said, act to look back into history, right? That is done intentionally, because it's a kind of just emotionally to get into that practice and just flip history, or like look back into history and make a change. I mean, many visitors to the exhibition ask me that look similar to the Arabic letters, and in a way, the Arabic is also a Semitic, script and language, but it's also derived from Aramaic. So there are some similarities, but the pronunciations of the letters are completely different. The Western Syriac does not have, as a writing system, they do not have numbers. Each letter would represent a number value, unlike the Arabic, unlike the Latin or the Hebrew or whatever. So that is what is interesting about this writing system. So in looking at the composition itself, the composition is just an expression of the letter, right? And to present the letters, in a way. So on the canvas, the letters, they have the right direction, so they're not flipped. Only when you use the stamps, you will see the flip version of the letters. And the composition of the letters is just there to celebrate, these letters, and sometimes the repetition of these letters that you see is done on purpose. So then it's like the repetition to keep learning the shapes, right? And then in the middle, there's this composition where the clustered letters come together, then they start to break to form, you know, the 22 letters of the Syriac. On the two sides, there's a sign of leaves inside a circle. And this is a symbol that, you know, the Maronite used to use in architecture or whatever, and it's a symbol of the seeds of life. So I wanted to bring that symbol into the composition to also give this kind of connotation that the type or the letters or the writing system has a life too. So it's a kind of a visual identity, but at the same time bringing some meaning to it into the composition. That's a great question, because during the exhibition I noticed that most of the people were, I mean, they're like also of course adults engaged in the experience of stamping the letters, but you know, the kids were the most engaged, and it was a kind of a wake-up call that maybe the next step of this project would be to create a programming for kids to learn, you know, the language and the script through a kind of a playful system that could be stamps or something else. So I'm just now in a state of observing the interaction of the audience with different age and different background and interest. And I think this will inform my future research to build on that and, you know, and produce something maybe on a larger scale. I should say that the more we talk about a language and we practice it, it will stay alive. But if we keep it muted, it will die. Another, you know, language will replace it. And we've seen through history many languages, you know, that have been vanished because they're not into practice anymore, right? So I hope through this project that I can contribute to the larger, you know, movement to sustain this writing system and the language in general, the Syriac language in general.